Hey guys, it's Kevin from JazTime.com. JazTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so that our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you want to know the price of a watch, simply click on the links on the description below. If you enjoy our videos, we would greatly appreciate if you would buy a watch from JazTime.com once in a while. Alright, so today we're going to be reviewing something a little bit special. Today we're reviewing the Rolex Deepsea James Cameron D-Blue. This is the newly released updated model from the Bezel 2018 show, reference number 126660. We'll be going over the dial, bezel, case, crown, bracelet, clasp, and we'll talk about the movement towards the end of the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right into the dial. So for the dial for the James Cameron version is a beautiful blue to black gradient dial with the Deepsea name in green, and this is special because this watch was made to commemorate the Deepsea challenge, in which James Cameron took his green submarine, which we have the green Deepsea name, into the Mariana Trench with a specialized deep sea version that Rolex made for him. So this is not the original. This is not the watch James Cameron originally took down. This is just a version of it that they commemorated him with. So that dial, very beautiful dial, deep sea name in green. We have the date at the 3 o'clock position. With no cyclops lens on top of that crystal, as typical sports pieces have. The cyclops lens on top of that sapphire crystal for easy viewing of the date. But that's because for the Deepsea, this is a professional diver's watch. The size of the crystal in this case is 5.5 millimeters thick. So that thickness of the crystal already provides some magnification for that date to make it easier to view. We have the maxi style dial, which is the circular hour markers with the index 6 and 9 o'clock positions and a triangular 12 as a 12 o'clock position. But as I mentioned, this is the more updated model of this Deepsea. So what has changed that they needed to give this watch a new reference number? Well, for one thing, one small change is at the 6 o'clock position. You'll see the Swiss made at the very bottom. I've actually added the Rolex crown logo in between that Swiss made. The other change is that for the minute and seconds hand, so these minute and seconds hand, they've actually extended it by a millimeter, so it matches the outer indices at the edge of the watch perfectly, instead of being a short a little bit from it. And the other change that they've done is that for the original gas escape valve, the ring lock system, they've changed the font of that to match the Deepsea font. So the font that you use for the Deepsea in the green, that's the font on that outer edge of that ring lock system. It used to be the font they used on the superlative chronometer, as you see at the 6 o'clock position. They used to use this font, but now they use the Deepsea font. So those are the changes that they've done to the dial of the watch, and noticeable changes to the front face of the watch. Besides that, one thing I forgot to mention, that this watch is luminous in the dark, with the hour markers being a highly legible chromolite display with long-lasting blue luminescence for up to 8 hours. So divers have easier viewability. If they go deep sea diving, the hour markers will glow, so they have a very easier time reading it in the dark. Moving on to the bezel now. The bezel is a beautiful unidirectional rotatable 60-minute graduated scratch resistant serochrome insert in ceramic, serochrome being Rolex's fancy way of saying a ceramic bezel. The numerals and graduations are coated in a platinum for extra resistance and durability. But overall, very beautiful. The ceramic itself is already very scratch resistant, and it keeps a sort of high polished look that really adds to the face of the watch and brings a little more shine to it. The scale, the 60-minute scale, starts from the peridot. Each thick indice is a 5-minute increment, so 5, 15, 25 with Arabics at the every 10, so 10, 20, 30, 40, and that's to track elapsed time. As I mentioned, divers watch, so you can divers would track how much time they have left in the oxygen tanks, which leads to the reason why it's a unidirectional bezel. Unidirectional meaning only one way. It only turns one way. As you see, I turn it to the left, but you can't turn it back the other way. And that's for safety precautions, such as, like I said, if you were tracking, diver was tracking elapsed time on their oxygen tank, you can track that elapsed time on how much you have left. So if you had 20 minutes left of oxygen, you can see the minute hand go over to that 20-minute mark. But if you were to accidentally bump it the other way, let's just say, like, so if you were to bump it the other way that you actually can't turn at the moment, then you would get a false reading, and that could be fatal. But if you're not a professional diver and you're wondering, well, what use does that have for me? Well, you can still use it for everyday activities such as tracking how fast you run a mile, or even checking how long a business meeting will take. We're going to go ahead and move on to the case now. The case is a 44 millimeter case size. So from my index finger to my thumb here, that's 44 millimeters in diameter. The Deepsea is a very, very large watch. So that 44 millimeters in diameter is matched with the thickness of the case, which is 17.7 millimeters thick, one of Rolex's thickest watches. So this won't fit under your suit cuffs, dress cuffs very nicely, but it will be bold and it will stand out. As you can see, very nice high polish on the side of the case with this little ring indentation on the side, and that's actually why this is a professional diver's watch. This is called the helium escape valve. So when divers go deep sea diving, they have to come to certain points in a depressurization chamber as they come up from the water. That is depressurizes the chamber by using certain gases, helium being one of them, but also another mixture of gases. But that helium can actually go into the watch and pop the crystal out just due to the pressure. The helium escape valve is an ingenious system in which the watch reaches a certain bar of pressure that a spring will activate and let that helium out, so you leave the watch undamaged. Now, for one thing I want to mention about the case is that with the update to the dial, they've actually updated the case. The lugs of the case are nicely slimmed down now, and that's actually because they've added a millimeter increment of thickness to the center link of the Oyster bracelet. So they slimmed down 1 millimeter on each side of the lug, added 1 millimeter to each side of the center link of the bracelet, and that's to keep that overall uniform shape. You can see the tapering and the case actually match very nicely now and have a very overall good flow. We're going to go ahead and move on to the crown before we move on to the bracelet first. So with the crown, we're looking at a triple waterproofness system with a water resistance of 3,900 meters or 12,800 feet. A testament to what luxury is. You can go down 12,800 feet with this watch. You'll probably never go down there during your lifetime. Maybe some of you will, maybe some of you won't. But it's just so you can boast that, yes, my watch can actually go down that far without any harm coming to it. But enough about that. Unwinding the crown comes out counterclockwise as shown into the standard position in which you can wind the watch. About 15 to 20 winds is all you need to get this watch started once more. With a total power reserve of 70 hours. When we get over to the movement, I'll explain why. Tugging out the crown to the next position will allow you to adjust the date instantaneously as shown. You can see as I just go clockwise, the date changes very quickly, very easily. Pulling out the crown to the final position, keep your eye out on the seconds hand. We'll stop that seconds hand and allow for precise time settings such as to an atomic clock online. You can set it down to the exact seconds. For precise time setting, of course, adjust the hands however you like bidirectionally. Pressing the crown back in, we'll start that second time once more, and always make sure screw the crown nice and tight in against the case. You want it to be keeping that water resistance that we boast at 12,800 feet or to 3,900 meters, and also between the crown protectors so the crown can't get damaged. Moving on to the bracelet now, as I mentioned, the bracelet was updated in conjunction with the lugs of the case, so we have a thicker middle link compared to the outer of the three-piece links. But satin finish throughout, as this is a sports watch, a nice durable satin finish and nice clean look throughout. There's the clasp, a nice satin finish as well on the other side of the bracelet. You can see that tapering down from the lug to the back of the clasp. Very beautiful. The clasp itself is a folding oyster safety lock. Safety being this little hinge that sits on top of the folding oyster. Folding oyster opens up as so to reveal this nicely high polished clasp blade. This high polished clasp blade has Rolex's name embossed on there very beautifully. But one thing to mention about the Deepsea is this is a diver's watch, as I'm going to keep reiterating to you, we have something called the glide lock extension link, which can be shown here. You can see the little rivets on the underside of the clasp that allows for 2 millimeter increments for a total extension of 20 millimeters in total. And how that's used is you simply pull the bracelet out at a 45-degree angle at the back of the clasp. Just pull that tab up and you can see the little riveted edges, the teeth there, and just Simply adjust inward or outward as so. But you'll also notice that while I'm doing that, you see kind of this weird links over here where it's nice and flat and it looks like they're stacked on top of each other. There's actually another extension called a flip lock extension link, which allows the divers to adjust for their wetsuits. So you would be able to open up, this actually has a sticker on it, so I won't be able to open it up for you guys, but it opens up to adjust for the wetsuits that divers wear to give yourself a little more comfortability on the wrist. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the movement now. The movement is housed in this beautiful case backing that has a sea dweller, the water resistance, and the deep sea name at the bottom. Crown logos at the 6 and 12 o'clock position, and just overall very beautiful. The movement is Rolex's in-house made perpetual mechanical self-winding movement. It's their caliber 32-35 movement, which is an updated movement from the typical movement, which was a typical sports piece movement, which is a 31-35, which is their tried and tested movement for over 10 years or even more than that. And that movement was tested for a very long time, but they've actually updated to now the caliber 32-35, and they've actually done away with the old style of testing and put in a new style of testing where they actually test the movement outside of the case and inside of the watch as well to keep within that Swiss specs of the -2 +2 seconds a day. So they do very strenuous testing for the movement to make sure it keeps within those Swiss specs, which earns the name of the superlative chronometer certification at the 6 o'clock position you see on the dial there. But it still has the same functions as center hour, minute, and seconds hand. So center hour, minute, seconds hand, instantaneous changing of the date with rapid setting and stopping of the seconds hand for precise time setting. I've shown you the crown functions. The other updates they've done to the movement, it still has the same type of oscillator, which is the paramagnetic blue paracomb hairspring, which allows for additional resistance against magnetism, but they've updated the shock absorption system in this watch. So you usually use the industry standard KIF shock absorbers, but they have updated to their own in-house made shock absorbers called the high performance paraflex shock absorbers, which Rolex comes absorbs 50% more shocks than industry standard. The other thing that they updated is the escapement on this watch. They've actually been updating most of their watches with this type of escapement. You'll notice it on the newer style Datejust, Sky Dwellers and such, the Chronology escapement, which is optimized for energy efficiency by skeletonizing that escapement wheel for reduced inertia to keep more precise time setting, but also making that skeletonized escapement wheel out of a nickel phosphorus, which adds to the resistance against magnetism, and paired with a paramagnetic blue paracomb hairspring in total to keep that nice Swiss specs. The power reserve is upgraded because of that escapement addition, which allows this watch to have that power reserve, as I mentioned with the crown functions earlier, which has a power reserve of 70 hours, meaning that you can put this watch down on a Friday evening, pick it back up on a Monday afternoon, and be keeping time just fine. And you're wondering, what's 70 hours? Well, 70 hours is a little bit large compared to the previous movement, the 31-35. That one was 48 hours, so you have an additional 22-hour power reserve on top of that now. So let me actually go ahead and stop talking about that. We're going to go ahead and put this watch on my wrist now. So locate that safety folding oyster, safety open, folding open, and fold that down. And then there we are, beautiful satin finish on the bracelet. You can see that nice tapering, absolutely working gorgeously now that they updated the lugs in terms with the bracelet. As you can see, it still sits very high on the wrist, so that 17.7 millimeters thickness really showing. And there's the watch on my wrist, absolutely beautiful gradient from the blue to the black. Very unique to this, only this style of deep sea or any Rolex watch has this gradient dial, so it's something to keep an eye out for. Ceramic bezel, absolutely gorgeous as well. You can see it very reflective and very shiny. Alright, so if you're interested in this watch or any other watch for the lowest possible price, check out our website at JazTime.com. We have the lowest prices guaranteed. And if you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at JazTime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.